Hello, and this is a nosebleed perspective, and we're going to round up the past week in sports and kind of do a weekly recap from our perspective and just kind of spitball these topics off. We're going to go ahead and start this off with Gibby. First and foremost, I'd say the main thing that's came out since our last show has been Patrick Mahomes and his new contract. Everyone was talking about it. Everyone's seen posts about it from every angle. So what Gibby's going to do is going to break it down, make sense of it, and tell us how it works. So go ahead, Gibby.
All right, so first we got to discuss NFL contracts. So everything on the news, whenever this was coming out, there was rumors leaked. It ended up being a 10-year, $506 million deal, right? So everyone freaks out because you do the quick math in your head, and that's $50 million a year for 10 years. But that's not the truth. That's not really what happens. There's the only way Patrick Mahomes can receive $500 million in 10 years is if he wins the MVP every year, throws for 5,000 yards, and wins a Super Bowl every year. And if that's the case, then sure, give the man $50 million. But as a fan, the only thing you really care is what's called a cap hit. And contracts are broken down. You get a base salary, signing bonuses, and incentives. And we could spend 3 hours trying to discuss that, and maybe in the future we will. But as a fan, cap hit is all that matters because that's the money that's taken away from your team's cap that you can't spend on other players. All the extra stuff, the incentives, signing bonuses, which is part of the cap hit, but not really, but goes from the owner. The owner has to pay that on the side to the player. It doesn't go against the cap hit. So when you're doing research on these contracts, whatever team you're on, all you care about is the cap hit, all right? So here's where Patrick Mahomes ranks on cap hit each year. Not what he's getting paid, what he takes away from the team. So 2020, this year, he's still on his rookie contract. He's 28th in the league. He's only making $5.3 million this year for the cap. So the team still has $200 million to spend on everywhere else. They've already spent it all. It's gone. But the team is going to be expensive when Patrick Mahomes is cheap. So next year, 2021, he's going to be in his fifth-year option, which basically is an extension of his rookie contract where teams can decide to keep a player or not, and it's cheaper. And since Patrick Mahomes was drafted 10th in his draft, his fifth-year option is even cheaper than if he was a top 5 pick. So he's going to be ranking 13th at $24.8 million, and he's still not going to be the highest-paid player on his team. So this man is going to play 5 years in the NFL and never be the highest-paid player on his team. So 2022 is his first year of his big contract. And like we said, 10 years, $500 million, you think $50 million. But his cap hit is only $31 million this year, that year, 2022. And he's ranked 7th. So the 6 quarterbacks were paid higher than him that year. Kirk Cousins, who's the highest paid quarterback. Matt Ryan, who's 3 years from now is going to be really old. Aaron Rodgers, which if the Packers don't back out of that. Russell Wilson, Ryan Tannehill, and our boy Jared Goff. And then Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz only makes $100,000 less. And when we're talking about $30 million, $100,000 is like a nickel. So basically Patrick Mahomes is 7th, 8th in that year. But this is where the contract is kind of works out perfect for the Chiefs. All the Chiefs role players, that's their last year. Tyreek Hill, Tyrann Mathieu, Mitchell Schwartz, the right tackle, who's one of the best offensive linemen in the league, Frank Clark, Chris Jones deal that just came up. All of them guys, their contracts are going to end that year. So this is the Chiefs for the next 3 years are fine. Don't freak out about Mahomes' contract for the next 3 years. Everything is going to be okay. Now, in 2023, 4 years from now, his cap hit is going to be $42 million. There's only 6 other quarterbacks in the NFL that are even on contract, and he's only going to make $3 more million than Russell Wilson. So this man is going to have to play 7-8 years in the NFL before he's the highest paid player. So, yes, this man absolutely deserves this, and it's not going to be that bad. The Chiefs have there's one other player on the Chiefs organization that is on contract for that year. So they'll be able to rebuild this team over the next few years to compensate for the money they paid for Patrick Mahomes. So 2023 is that year where the Chiefs are going to be a completely different football team than what they are now. They're not going to look anything like they do now, and that's so far down the road that it's not even going to be a big deal. But the main thing to think about is 5 years ago in 2015, the highest paid cap hit for a quarterback was $21 million to Drew Brees. Russell Wilson is the guy this year. Dax is kind of weird, but it'll be about the same if he ends up playing. $31 million cap. So from 2015, $21 million to 2020, $31 million. That's an increase of 67%. And that means in that 5 years, if it would go up 67% again in 5 more years, the cap hit should be for a quarterback, if it keeps that pace, is $51 million. And Mahomes' deal caps, that's his highest cap hit he'll hit at all throughout the 10-year contract. So for me, it's a great deal for Patrick Mahomes and a great deal for Kansas City Chiefs.
Absolutely. Those were – man. Hey.
Yeah. I'm out of breath.
Yeah, I mean, you made some really good points there. I mean, the cap is going to continue to go up, and I think it's a safe bet. You got to pay the man. And I think they're definitely, over the next 3 years, looking to win Super Bowls every single year. And you kind of, mentioned that when everybody's contract's over or whatever. But all right, I hope you guys are listening to that. Thank you, Gibby. And we're going to kind of move on with just a few other sports topics for right now. All right, so Rajon Rondo's out with injury for now, a few weeks or whatever during this playoff, whatever the hell they're doing, NBA bubble. How does this impact the Lakers? My thoughts on it, AD and LeBron, as long as they play at the top of their game, which I think they can, I don't see any huge issues, but Rajon Rondo is a guy who can glue a team together. A few years ago when I think it was 2017, they played the top-seeded Boston Celtics, and when he was playing with the Chicago Bulls, and they went up 2-0 in that series when Rondo was there, and Rondo got hurt after that 2-0 lead, and they didn't win a single game after that. So that's just kind of his, thing. He's a veteran player. He's won championships. So I think it could impact the team, but I think as long as LeBron and AD can play at the top level, it's not going to really affect their chances too much. But who really knows with all this COVID bullshit?
Yeah, for sure. So like you said, the injury's 6 to 8 weeks, fractured thumb. He'll be back whenever the playoffs matter. I don't think it has a huge impact, like you said, because of the play-in games, and the NBA is so top-heavy. It's not like the NFL or the NHL or even the MLB where a top NBA team can lose in the first round. It's not going to happen. The only team I can see with matchup issues in the first round would be the Trailblazers, just because they have 2 really lengthy guards. But the Trailblazers can't guard AD or LeBron, so they'll be fine. I don't think it has a huge impact.
Alrighty. Let me pour this beer, and good. All right, yeah, sticking with the NBA for one more topic. Russell Westbrook has COVID. Just your thoughts. What does that mean for the NBA? What does that mean for the Houston Rockets? People always try to say the NBA's fixed and say, they're going to try to cater it towards LeBron. Now he's in the West. So, of course, the superstar has COVID, blah, blah, blah. I don't believe in that shit. It's just the way the NBA has always been. And I don't think they're going to make this publicity somewhere, Russell Westbrook gets COVID and he's not playing to help LeBron. I think it's just a bunch of bullshit. And honestly, hot take, the Rockets championship odds increase because, without Westbrook. That's just my opinion. The dude's a scrub in the playoffs since KD's left. Look at his numbers. He's shooting 33% or something over the past 4 years or 3 years. Harden and Westbrook, I'm not sold on them yet. They have to prove it to me. It's kind of weird, so they're not going to be able to do that this year. But we'll see.
Jesus. All right. I don't.
Look, that's true. He's a great athletic point guard. He's one of the most, maybe the most athletic point guard ever. The dude's just a monster, triple-double machine. But what does that do in the playoffs? How does that translate?
I think the only impact this could have is if he doesn't come back healthy. That 2nd seed to 7th seed in the West is only separated by 4 games. They're playing 8 games before, and that is going to be huge. The Rockets need to be as high as they possibly can to have any sort of hope. Oof. So that's the only thing I could see mattering there.
And they've ran into the Warriors a couple times. Utah beat them a couple times, or a couple years ago. that was OKC. Whatever. Okay, so hockey playoffs almost here. These guys are pretty excited about that. Who's your all's favorites to win it all? Award finalists came out recently, and the number 1 overall picked in the next hockey draft is going to come or go to a team who's in the playoffs. How do you guys feel about that? Who's your favorites?
All right, so for playoffs, gonna go favorites right now. Honestly, and this isn't because Gibby's my boy. I'm going for the Blues in these playoffs. I just think that they're a team that's just ready to win this season and to be back-to-back Stanley Cup champs. But a dark horse team, and people might not really see them as a dark horse team, but I'm going with the Toronto Maple Leafs on the East as my dark horse, just because they haven't won a cup in so long that
2020 is the year then.
I think a lot of people are just saying that they don't have a chance, but I do think that the Leafs could be the representative from the East. What about you, Gibby?
All right, so my favorite, I've talked about it. For whatever reason, they're in my division and everything, but I just am a big believer in the Avs. You know, they've got the center to do it. They've got the number one center. I think their goalie can get hot. They've got enough offensive defensemen that they can move the puck around and really, do good in the power play, which is key in the playoffs. Whenever we talk about dark horse, it's gonna be tough. I'll go Winnipeg just because I'll just keep it in the division. I think Winnipeg can make a run. That team was like the Cleveland Browns of this year. They just kind of dissembled themselves, even though they have all the talent in the world. Maybe COVID, they kumbaya'd and got it together.
I'm pulling for the Yotes, baby. Shocking the world.
Ooh, that'd be huge.
All right. So the NFL has introduced new mouth shields by, I think Oakley makes them. J.J. Watt, not a fan. He said he went out on record and saying he will not play if that is mandatory to wear. J.J. Watt is to mouth shields as AB is to helmets. I don't know. So what do you guys think about these mouth shields? Do you think that actually happens?
I don't see the big deal. I don't see why it's that big of a deal for the players that they don't want to wear a mask. Like, it's not going to be restricting oxygen from getting to them. It's just strictly so that they can't get their saliva and shit on other people.
Right.
That's all the league is trying to do, is just protect people. So I don't understand why J.J. Watt's making this big of a deal. Maybe I haven't worn this helmet with this mask on it, so I don't know if it's oxygen restrictive or not. But what's the big deal, JJ?
Yeah, they said they're doing trial runs with the LA Chargers and the LA Rams right now, and those are the only two teams who have actually kind of worn it. I mean, they're going to modify it as it goes. We'll see on Hard Knocks coming up next month, though. Pretty excited about that. Gibby, sorry,
I don't get it, because the only thing I think about, like Cheech said, was air restriction. You're wearing a mouthpiece the whole game. What's the screen going to do? J.J. Watt does a lot for Houston, but man. But screw that dude. He's a bum. If you live outside of Houston, he's a bum.
Can you believe he got a 98 in Madden overall still? I mean, dude's been a beast.
Joke.
Yeah, on Madden real quick. Yeah, J.J. Watt got a 98. Don't like that rating. Don't like a lot of ratings. But I will say I think they were spot on with the 99 Club. 99 Club this year, Aaron Donald, of course. Christian McCaffrey, how can you not give it to him after what he did last year? Stephon Gilmore, lockdown corner, he's a beast. He can do everything. Patrick Mahomes, say no more, and Michael Thomas, crybaby, who broke all kinds of records, blah, blah, blah. So I think they got it pretty spot on. You guys have any issues with the 99 Club?
I would have liked Julio to got it over Michael Thomas. Just the consistency. I think Julio's a better receiver. And I just think the Saints are – maybe it's just because I don't want everyone to play with the Saints because of Kamara and Drew Brees and everything that they have. But, I'm fine with it. It's okay. They messed up so much stuff. But the one thing they did okay at, I won't dog them for, I guess.
I guess I never noticed how few players are actually rated 99. When you first download the game and get into it, I didn't realize that there was only 5 dudes in this 99 club. So –
yeah.
I'm glad that it says restrictive as it is, because I don't need the game to be overpowered. But yeah, I think that they picked the right people for it.
Cool. All right. Well, next topic. So the Philadelphia Eagles city officials have kind of said that there will be no fans at their home field this year. What does that mean for the NFL? How does that play out with home field advantage for the Eagles at least? And do more teams follow? What do you guys think?
So me personally, I don't think any team's really going to have a big home field advantage. I'm a big Shark Tank fan, so the Miami Dolphins owner is always on that, and he's kind of talked about different ways to get at least like 5,000 or 10,000, 20,000 people in the stands, just to kind of pay loyalty to their big season ticket holders. Home field advantage, I don't think anyone's going to have, but them already saying no fans at all, like bold move, Cotton.
It's not like I don't think it's 100%, but I think they said it in the article, it's a fluid situation, but as of right now, they don't want fans. So
it's going to change the game so much. Just even sitting at home and watching it, it's going to be so much quieter. You're going to hear every single word the quarterback saying. You're going to hear every single word the D-line saying and the linebackers. It's going to be crazy. It's going to really change the game.
Which will be cool probably for, people at home watching.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of like the UFC.
Maybe we'll get to see hear the O-lineman actually break down, and we can talk about that. That'd be cool.
That would be cool. All right. Myles Garrett gets paid a 5-year, $125 million contract after slugging someone across the head with their own helmet. Look, this dude's a monster. He deserves to get paid because he is so talented. But, man, like the energy this guy's bringing to be able to do what he did and get paid in the offseason after, was it 8-game suspension? I think it was 8 games. I don't know. But
rest of the year, yeah.
What do you guys think?
It just proves that if you're one of the best in a position, you can essentially get away with whatever you want. That's all that proves. Like, hey, yeah, you took this man's helmet off and then smashed his skull in with it. Here's $100 million.
Yeah,
it's awesome for him.
Yeah, the only person who's never came back from an incident is Ray Rice, and that's just because the video footage is
too bad.
It's like Kareem Hunt kicked a woman's head into a wall, and he was in our fantasy top 30 ratings. But it's the second most important position in football, the quarterback, and then the person who's going to get after the quarterback. So you have to pay the man. The Browns have so much cap space. If they let him walk, there's literally no excuse besides they don't care. And then I'm calling in the Cincinnati Bengals with no outdoor practice facility. So,
and you don't want to be the Browns and the Bengals at the same time.
At the same time.
You can't. No organization could survive that. All right. Redskins are getting a new logo. They're getting a new name. Does anyone care? I'm kind of wishing this whole saga would just – obviously it's time for them to change it, I suppose. But I just wish this whole thing was over. I'm sick of seeing the Redskins in the news every day. It's hard to watch even. What do you guys think?
Yeah, so I don't – this doesn't affect me or my close friends or anything, but if it does offend people or, if that is offensive, then yeah, absolutely. Get rid of it, change it. Their owner's a stooge, though, so I'm surprised that he finally did it. Now there's sexual assault cases about him. There's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it came out today.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff coming out today. So that whole organization, they have a terrible quarterback, and that shouldn't be brought up, but whatever. Yeah, it's just a terribly ran organization.
They just need to uproot and move to somewhere else.
Yeah,
I think instead of changing the name, they should have changed the mascot to a Redskin potato.
There you go.
I feel like that would be more along the lines of what that franchise is about, because they're just potatoes. They just lay there and do nothing. They're just bums.
Oh, man.
So I think that instead of changing the name, changing the logo to a potato would have been better and would have kept them with the roots of the team.
A little bit of respect, too, because the red potato is my favorite potato. So
what?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Over a sweet potato?
I like red potatoes, man. Sweet potatoes are good, but I really enjoy them. Anyway, okay. Atlanta Braves add Yasiel Puig. Is this significant or not? I don't give a shit. What do you guys think?
I don't really see him adding too much value. The Braves are rebuilding to be a really good team, and they have potential this season. Puig in the past has been a really good player, but he's also just a controversial dude for absolutely no reason. He could add a lot to the team, but at the same time, he could be a distraction. So I don't see it really being significant.
Yeah, so for sure. So Quick never really lived up to his height, but he does add, really good depth to that outfield. Like he can still hit the ball as long as he doesn't get in a fight with his coaches for no reason. Like you're playing well, and then he gets in a fight with his coach. I hate, LA teams and everything except for the Rams because my boy. But, a couple of their older players have already opted out and said they're not coming. So I think this was a move that they did actually have to make. But I'm not sure how much that impacts their season or their outcome of how it turns out.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, conferences have already started announcing that in college football, some leagues will be just playing conference games only, and some leagues like the Ivy League will be completely just canceling fall sports. I think the Ivy League can afford that because they don't have any television deals, so they can literally afford to do that and take the safe route. Fellas, are we going to have football this year? It's starting to worry me just a little bit.
So conference-only games to me can be fun because I think they're one of the best college games to watch. Like I love Big Ten rivalries where it's, even Wisconsin versus Northwestern where it's just smash mouth football and, they see each other every year and all that stuff happens. Conference-only doesn't bother me, and maybe that can segue into if you win your conference, you get in the playoffs and then we can get a bigger playoff going or something. I don't know. I don't have an issue with conference-only. I do think it's going to be tough to justify calling them student athletes and then not having students on campus to play football this year. The whole student athlete thing where you're saying the most important thing is being a student, and then you're saying, well, the rest of the students, they don't have to come to school, but you do because you make us a lot of money and we have a TV contract. So that whole part of it to me is going to make it. But the conference only thing, I'm fine with it. If they were Big 12 games only, that's cool. West Virginia will go 3-7 either way. So.
Here's what I don't understand, though, about it. So, talking Big 12, you got West Virginia, and then you got Oklahoma on the other side of the country. So they're flying no matter what. Are you saying that within your conference, those dudes don't have COVID? So, I just don't understand the logic in saying you're playing conference only. You're still going to have to travel. You're still going from the East Coast to 3/4 across the country to go play football. So how is that safer than West Virginia traveling down to Florida to play UCF or something like that in a non-conference game? I just don't understand the logic in doing conference only when money. But it just doesn't make sense though for them to say playing conference only is the safest route. You're still traveling. You're still interacting with human beings that you haven't interacted with. So I don't understand the logic in it, but I think as long as we get football, that's it.
I think it's just a PR move to make it seem like they're trying to do something, but they're still going to make the big money with those conference network, packages. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see. I hope you got something else.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it's a money thing. So they're like, oh, crap, we're not going to make as much money as we did last year. So let's say we're only playing in conference to help with COVID, but they have to know that they're not going to make half the money they made in the years past because no fans in the stands. So maybe the conference will help them out or something. But yeah, it is dumb as hell.
All right, last thing real quick. Derrick Henry just signed a 4-year, $50 million contract, $25 million guaranteed. What are your thoughts going on? What are your thoughts with what's going on in Tennessee? Sorry.
Never, ever, 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 ever pay a running back. Oof. Ever. I don't care. Don't care who it is. If you have a good O-line, a good coaching staff that can get a running back open, we saw it. Mostert is a special teams guy. He's still a special teams guy. That doesn't just change overnight. You don't all of a sudden become a great running back. It's the Kyle Shanahan scheme and the great offensive line. Them are the two most important things of being a good running back and having a good season. The last time an all-pro running back made the Super Bowl was 1999 for the Rams. The NFL has completely changed. Don't pay a running back. Look at the Patriots. Look at the 49ers. It's been proven over and over again. They've got an average quarterback and an expensive running back. I don't see them having the season they had last year ever again.
Yeah, with the Cowboys, when Zeke was doing his holdout for money last year, Pollard looked great in the backfield. And he's just a nobody, dude. Yeah, the Cowboys probably could have pressed forward and had the exact same season with Pollard. So Derrick Henry is a beast, but, I'm with Gibby on this one. any running back, if you can plug and play any running back in the league into teams with good O-lines, and that running back will deserve a paycheck.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I totally agree. I learned the hard way, obviously, from the fan perspective with Todd Gurley. Yeah, I'm totally on that train now. Don't pay him a dime. But the thing, all right, say these organizations, I don't know when they're going to learn. Eventually, I hope they do, but honestly, they're going to keep paying these guys. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. But if they knew they were going to sign Derrick Henry, why didn't they franchise tag Ryan Tannehill instead? Because he has the most to prove. He's the guy who we don't know what the hell he's going to do. He only played good for half a season, a few months or whatever. I mean, he was great. You look at the numbers; he was top 10 quarterback in the league easily, top 5 in most categories. I think. Actually, I know that's crazy, but that check nosebleed, but check it. But why would you not franchise tag, Tannehill and see what he does? Because if he's not, say he plays a little bit below what he played those last 90 days, and you can get him for cheaper, or you look another way, another direction if he's not the guy you thought he was going to be. That's my thoughts. And I am a big Ryan Tannehill guy. I think he's going to be okay this year. I really do think he's a good quarterback, but that's just my thinking on it. But who knows if they really wanted to tag whoever they were going to tag, because it took them to the very last second. So that's just my thoughts. And this has been a weekly recap from the Nosebleed crew. We'll be back with some wide receiver projections and rankings for fantasy PPR style. You all have a good day.